Your soulmate is still in your energy, but I need you to understand something before we even go deeper into this reading. This return is not simple. This is not someone casually deciding to text you because they miss your attention. This is someone who has been sitting with the emotional aftermath of what they did, what they lost, and what they could not face when they had the chance. And with this Five of Cups reversed coming through as the first card, I'm immediately seeing regret, emotional recovery, and someone trying to crawl out of a heavy place inside themselves. Upright, this card is grief. It is disappointment. It is staring at what spilled and forgetting what is still standing. But reversed, psychologically, this is someone beginning to look up, someone beginning to realize, wait, maybe everything is not completely destroyed. Maybe there is still something here. But here is where it gets interesting. They are not just regretting losing you. They are regretting the version of themselves that showed up and caused the loss. There is a difference. Missing you is one thing. Becoming painfully aware of how immature, avoidant, reactive, or emotionally unavailable they were is another. This person may have tried to act like they were fine. They may have pretended the separation did not affect them. They may have told themselves they were moving forward, focusing on themselves, choosing peace, choosing independence. But this card says the emotional truth kept coming back around, late at night, in quiet moments, when they saw something that reminded them of you, when they realized other people did not feel like you. I need you to hear this. They are coming back with regret, but regret does not automatically mean readiness. That is the tension in this reading, because the Five of Cups reversed is recovery. Yes, but it is also the fragile stage after denial breaks. They are beginning to see what they lost. They are beginning to understand your emotional value. And now I understand why they went silent. They were not done feeling. They were avoiding feeling. Let's keep pulling. And now we have the Four of Swords reversed. This is exactly what I was feeling, because this is not peaceful silence. This is not someone resting, healing, taking space, and feeling grounded in that decision. No. Reversed, this is mental unrest. This is emotional exhaustion. This is someone who tried to step away from the connection because they thought distance would give them control, but instead, distance made everything louder. I need you to understand the difference. When someone is truly at peace with a separation, their energy settles. They may still care, but they are not spiraling. They are not replaying conversations. They are not wondering if they handled something wrong. They are not waking up with that heavy feeling in their chest, trying to distract themselves before the truth catches up. But with the Four of Swords reversed, this person has not been resting. They have been hiding inside their own mind. And that is why the silence felt so confusing to you. Because energetically, you could still feel them. You could feel that something was unfinished. You could feel that they were not completely gone, even if their actions looked cold, distant, or detached. Here is what I'm seeing. They pulled back because they did not know how to sit in the emotional weight of this connection. They may have told themselves, I just need time. They may have told themselves, I need space. But what they really needed was emotional courage. Because space did not erase the feeling. Time did not erase the guilt. Silence did not erase the bond. It only gave their mind more room to run. This is where it gets deeper because the Five of Cups reversed showed regret beginning to rise. But the Four of Swords reversed shows what happens after that regret wakes up inside them. They cannot fully numb it anymore. They cannot keep pretending they are unaffected. Their nervous system, their thoughts, their memories, their guilt, all of it is pushing them toward a moment of truth. So no, their silence was not indifference. It was pressure. It was avoidance. It was emotional overload. And their next move is not coming from a random impulse. It is coming from a realization they have tried to ignore but cannot keep outrunning. And now the Six of Cups comes through, and this explains why they cannot outrun it. Because this is memory, this is nostalgia. This is the emotional imprint that stays even when someone tries to convince themselves they have moved on. And I need you to understand, this is not them just vaguely missing you. This is not them sitting around thinking, oh, that was nice. No, this is specific. This is them remembering the way you spoke to them when they were overwhelmed. The way you understood things they did not have to explain. The way your presence felt familiar, even when the connection was complicated. The way certain conversations replay in their mind because now with distance, they realize you were giving them something they did not know how to receive at the time. And with the Four of Swords reversed before this, it makes so much sense. Their mind is restless because the memories will not stay quiet. They may hear a song and suddenly they are back in a moment with you. They may drive past a place, see something online, hear a phrase, smell something familiar, and their whole emotional body remembers before their mind can shut it down. That is what this Six of Cups energy is showing me. The past is not just sitting behind them. It is actively coming forward. And here is where it gets interesting. They may have tried to compare you to other people, not always consciously. Sometimes people do this quietly. They try to talk to someone new, distract themselves, create a new routine, pretend that emotional safety can be replaced by attention. But then they start noticing the difference. Someone else may respond, but they do not understand. Someone else may be available, but they do not feel like home. Someone else may give them attention, but it does not touch the same place inside them. And that is when regret becomes more than regret. That is when they start realizing the connection had value they underestimated while they had access to it. But nostalgia is not the shocking part. The shocking part is that these memories are not just making them miss you. They are showing them exactly why they pushed you away in the first place. And now the moon reversed comes through, and this is exactly the layer underneath those memories. Because the moon reversed is what happens when illusion starts breaking. It is what happens when someone can no longer hide behind confusion, excuses, mixed signals, or the story they told themselves to make their behavior feel reasonable. Upright, the moon can be fear, uncertainty, projection, things being unclear. But reversed, the fog starts lifting. And I need you to understand what that means here. These memories are not just softening them, they are exposing them. They are forcing this person to look at the parts of themselves they were trying not to see. The defensiveness, the avoidance, the way they may have acted cold when they were actually scared, the way they may have pulled away when the connection started feeling too real, the way they may have created confusion, because clarity would have required honesty. And this does not erase what happened. I want to be very clear about that. Understanding the wound is not the same as accepting the behavior. Seeing why someone ran does not mean you have to pretend it did not hurt when they left. But this card is showing me that something in them is finally starting to understand their own pattern. Because they were not only afraid of losing you, they were afraid of being fully seen by you. That is the part they did not know how to handle. You may have seen through their performance. You may have noticed when they were pretending to be okay. You may have felt the truth underneath their words. And for someone who is used to hiding, being loved by someone who can see them clearly can feel comforting and terrifying at the same time. So they pushed away the mirror. They pushed away the person who made them feel exposed. They pushed away the connection that was asking them to become more honest than they were ready to be. And now, with the moon reversed, that self-deception is starting to crack. They are beginning to realize that the problem was not that the connection was too much. The problem was that it required a version of them they had not grown into yet. But the question now is this: will this realization actually move them forward, or will it stay trapped inside their head? And now we have the Knight of Cups reversed. And this is why I do not want to rush the message of this reading. Because yes, there is regret here. Yes, there are memories. Yes, there is a truth rising inside this person that they cannot keep denying. But the Knight of Cups reversed asks a very important question. Can they actually carry the emotion they are feeling, or are they only being moved by the intensity of missing you? There is a difference. An emotional confession can sound beautiful and still not be grounded. Someone can say, I miss you. Someone can say, I have been thinking about you. Someone can even say, I know I messed up. But if they are not ready to be consistent, if they are not ready to listen without becoming defensive, if they are not ready to take responsibility without turning it into a performance, then that confession is not the same as emotional maturity. And I need you to hear this clearly. Do not confuse their feelings with their capacity. Because the Knight of Cups reversed can be someone who wants the romance, wants the reunion, wants the emotional relief of being close to you again, but still struggles when vulnerability becomes real. This is someone who may rehearse the message. They may imagine the apology. They may picture the conversation going a certain way. They may fantasize about the two of you softening, reconnecting, getting back to that emotional place where things felt safe. But then accountability enters the room, and that is where they hesitate, because it is one thing to miss your warmth. It is another thing to face the pain they caused. It is one thing to want access to your heart again. It is another thing to prove through behavior that they understand why that access was lost. So with the moon reversed before this, the hidden truth is coming up. But with the Knight of Cups reversed, we are seeing the tension between realization and readiness. They know more now than they did before. They feel more now than they admitted before. But the question is whether they can move differently, not just feel deeply. And the next card is important because it changes the direction of this reading. It shows me whether this person stays in emotional fantasy or starts making a real decision about what comes next. And now the Two of Wands comes through. And this is the shift I was waiting for. Because this is not the same energy as sitting in regret. This is not the same energy as replaying memories and feeling guilty in silence. The Two of Wands is where someone starts looking ahead. This is someone standing at a crossroads and realizing, I cannot stay in the same place emotionally and expect a different outcome. And I need you to understand how important that is in this reading. Up until now, we have seen what is happening inside them: the regret, the unrest, the memories, the hidden truth, the emotional immaturity they are being forced to confront. But now, with the Two of Wands, their focus is beginning to move from what happened to what comes next. This is the new direction showing up. They are not just thinking about losing you anymore. They are thinking about what their life looks like if they never try to fix this. They are thinking about what it means if they let pride, fear, or avoidance make the final decision for them. They are starting to feel the weight of a future where you are not accessible in the same way. And that is different because missing you is emotional. But imagining a future without you requires perspective. This person may be considering a message. They may be thinking about how to approach you without sounding careless or selfish. For some of you, they may even be thinking about a visit, a serious conversation, or changing something in their life that made this connection difficult before. But I do not feel this as reckless rushing. I feel this as planning, looking, pausing, trying to understand what the right move would actually require. And that is where the Knight of Cups reversed is being challenged, because their emotional fantasy is not enough anymore. Their feelings are not enough anymore. They are being pushed toward a decision, not just, do I miss you, but am I willing to become someone who can handle this connection better than I did before? That is the crossroads. And the reason they have not rushed in yet is because they already sense something has changed on your side too. The next energy is going to show what they are afraid you will say when they finally come back. And now we have the Queen of Swords, and this is exactly why they are hesitating. Because this person can feel that you are not in the same energy they left you in. They can feel that something about you has sharpened. Not in a cruel way, not in a bitter way, but in a clear way. And I need you to understand how powerful that is. The Queen of Swords is boundaries. It is discernment. It is emotional intelligence after pain has taught you what softness without standards can cost you. This is the energy of someone who may still care, but no longer abandons themselves just because someone comes back with emotion. And that is what they are afraid of. They are afraid that when they return, you will not simply melt. They are afraid that an apology will not automatically open the door. They are afraid that you will ask the questions they were hoping to avoid. Why did you disappear? Why did you act like it did not matter? What has actually changed? What are you prepared to do differently now? Because they know your warmth, but now they are meeting your clarity. And there is a difference. Before, they may have assumed they could come in and out of your energy. They may have underestimated how deeply their inconsistency affected you. They may have thought your love meant unlimited access, but the Queen of Swords says no. Love does not mean you get to skip accountability. Love does not mean you get to hurt someone and then return as if nothing happened. This is not revenge. This is not you becoming cold. This is you becoming honest with yourself. And that is why they're planning that Two of Wands energy is slowed down, because they are not just planning how to reach you, they are planning how to face you. They are trying to figure out if they have enough truth, enough humility, enough emotional maturity to stand in front of someone who sees clearly now. I need you to hear this. Your healing changed the dynamic. They are not coming back to the old version of you. They are coming back to someone who has learned the difference between wanting closure and needing proof. And the next card is going to show the message they may bring, but more importantly, what they are secretly hoping you will allow them to ask for. And now the Page of Pentacles comes through, and this is very important because this does not feel like a dramatic entrance. This does not feel like someone rushing in with a huge speech, making promises, trying to overwhelm you emotionally, or expecting everything to go back to how it was overnight. No, the Page of Pentacles is slower than that, more careful than that, more humble than that. This is a small message with weight behind it, and I need you to understand why that matters. Because after the Queen of Swords, they know they cannot come toward you carelessly. They know they cannot just throw emotion at the situation and hope your heart does the rest. They know that if they reach out, the way they approach you has to show some kind of respect for what you have been through. So this may begin simply: a check-in, an apology. A message that sounds almost casual on the surface, but underneath it, there is nervousness, there is intention. There is someone trying to reopen a door without forcing it open. They may say something like, "I've been thinking about you," or "I know it's been a while," or "I understand if you don't want to respond, but I wanted to say this." And the words may not be perfect. The message may not give you everything all at once. But with the Page of Pentacles, what matters is that they are trying to come in with something more grounded than before. This is not the Knight of Cups reversed fantasy energy. This is not just, "I miss you, please make me feel better." This is, "I know I have to start somewhere." And that is a very different vibration. For some of you, this person may want to explain what was happening with them when they went silent. They may want to admit that they handled things badly. They may want to ask if there is any space for a conversation, not necessarily to demand reunion, but to see if trust can even begin to be rebuilt. Because secretly, what they want to ask for is a chance, not instant access. A chance. But the next card is going to expose something important, whether this offer is truly sincere or whether there is still something unresolved sitting underneath it. And now Judgment comes through, and this is the card that tells me this offer is not just about communication. It is about reckoning. Because the Page of Pentacles may be the message. It may be the apology, it may be the small step they take toward you, but Judgment is what is underneath it. Judgment is the moment where someone has to look at the past and stop editing the story to make themselves feel better. And I need you to understand how serious that is. This person is not just being asked to miss you. They are being asked to wake up, to see who they were in the connection, to see what they avoided, to see how their silence, their inconsistency, their fear, or their immaturity created consequences they now have to live with. And this is why the return feels heavier than a simple message. Because judgment is not begging. Judgment is truth. It is that moment where the past comes back, not to punish, but to be answered honestly. And for this person, that means they cannot come back only wanting comfort. They cannot come back only wanting reassurance that you still care. They cannot come back hoping that your love will erase the parts of the story they have not taken responsibility for. No. If they are coming back through judgment, they are being confronted with the question, are you actually different, or are you just afraid of what you lost? There is a difference. And I feel like this is where the emotional stakes rise, because you may feel it too. You may sense that this conversation, when it happens, cannot be shallow. It cannot just be, I miss you, and then everything resets. Something has to be named, something has to be acknowledged, something has to be brought into the light. This is where both people are being asked to meet the truth from a higher place, not from pride, not from fear, not from the old pattern. Because if they keep repeating the same avoidance, they already know where that road leads. But if they choose accountability, then this connection has the chance to move in a completely different direction. And the final card is going to show the outcome energy, but more importantly, what you need to know before you decide whether this door should open again. And now the Six of Swords comes through, and this is the outcome energy I wanted to see after judgment. Because the Six of Swords is movement, but it is not chaotic movement. It is not running. It is not escaping. It is transition. It is healing. It is leaving behind the emotional storm and choosing a different direction because the old way cannot hold the connection anymore. And I need you to hear this. Your soulmate is coming back, yes. But the shocking truth is that the return is not just about whether they miss you. It is about whether they are ready to leave the old pattern behind. Because regret brought them to the doorway. Memories brought your energy back into their awareness. The moon reversed, exposed what they were hiding from. The Page of Pentacles showed the first step. Judgment showed the reckoning. But the Six of Swords says, now what are you willing to move away from? Are they willing to move away from silence? Are they willing to move away from emotional avoidance? Are they willing to move away from pride, confusion, inconsistency, and the habit of disappearing when things become real? That is what you need to watch. Not just the words, the movement. Because this is not about chasing. This is not about waiting at the shore, hoping someone finally decides your love is valuable. No, this is about seeing whether their return carries evidence of growth, consistency, humility, emotional maturity, the ability to have the conversation they once avoided. And for you, the Six of Swords is also important because it says you are not meant to go back into the same emotional chaos just because they return with regret. If this door opens again, it has to open into a different kind of connection. A calmer one, a more honest one. A connection where both people are willing to move forward, not just repeat the pain with softer words. So yes, I do feel movement toward you, but I also feel a choice. Because the return is only the beginning. What matters is whether both of you can leave the old version of this story behind. And now I want to pull what they actually want to say to you because there is something here they have not spoken yet.